Ladies and gentlemen, this is extremely important. I want to read you a CNN article, and this is very, very important right before midterms and especially after midterms, when you have Rand Paul and Marjorie Taylor Greene opening up investigations into why the DOJ even investigated Trump in the first place. They haven't even charged him with a crime. I mean, here's the biggest question of all pertaining to Mar-a-Lago. They already have all the information, documents, classified, top secret. They already know he removed the classified intelligence as a former president with boxes for a library. Okay, they haven't charged him because, and for the same reason they haven't charged anyone in Georgia or New York under criminal statutes. They don't have a crime. So if you just read this, CNN, Trump considering releasing surveillance footage of FBI Mar-a-Lago search, and then that's CNN. And then Washington Times, Trump and family watched FBI search from New York on closed-circuit television. Then another CNN, Business Insider, Eric Trump says Trumps will share surveillance tapes of Mar-a-Lago raid at the right time. That's a Business Insider article. The right time, ladies and gentlemen, is going to be after midterms. Almost certainly after he announces, or perhaps before he announces, officially. So he's pretty much denounced, in Texas last weekend. He pretty much said, hey, I'm going to do this all over again. And I talked about that in a live stream on Sunday. But hit subscribe to this channel, ladies and gentlemen. It's very, very important, and this is a huge, huge story. He releases the security footage. The rebuttal might be, so what? It's not that big of a deal. Well, it is that big of a deal because if you look at the Wall Street Journal, FBI quest for Trump documents started with breezy chats, tour of a crowded closet. Why interactions between the Bureau team, Trump team soured remains a mystery. It's not really a mystery. They needed a campaign boost. If GDP up, which is hilarious, it's up for every reason other than actual true economic growth. The dollar is strong. You had exports do very well because the dollar is strong. And if you look at the numbers, the fact that Biden released 200 million barrels of strategic petroleum reserves. The same person who says we have to fight to save the planet and combat climate change. He released 200 million barrels of strategic petroleum reserves from arms sales and sales of oil, combined with a dollar that's stronger than any other currency because the world is heading into a global recession. You had GDP up momentarily, but personal consumption expenditures, a whole bunch of other data and numbers showed that the economy didn't really grow that much. Actually, it was like 0.6%. It grew possibly 0.6% if you remove the oil sales and arms sales and the fact that the dollar is so strong compared to other currencies. But anyway, inflation is still at 8.5%, 8.2, 8.3% to 9%, far more for oil, for energy, rent, and food. Real wages are down 8.5%, according to the Dallas Fed. So Biden released 200 million barrels of strategic petroleum reserves. Had he not done that, you wouldn't have had 2.6% up GDP. So the numbers were, of course, fabricated the way Democrats always fabricate numbers. And in terms of the arms sales, billions upon billions, yeah, that counts. That counts for the U.S. economy. So unfortunately, war is very lucrative for Democrats. You take away the geopolitical nightmare in Europe, and you take away the 200 million barrels of strategic petroleum reserves, we're in a third quarter of negative growth almost certainly. But here, and then the 200 million barrels of strategic petroleum reserve lowered the price of oil in this country. But here, you look, ladies and gentlemen, so this isn't rocket science. Democrats always mess with numbers. But the interesting thing is they say, well, we weren't in a recession to begin with. We had 2 quarters of negative growth. I can go on forever. We were, of course, in a recession. We're still really in a recession right now. The economy The economy grew because of arms sales and because of oil, strategic petroleum reserve release. You don't have those things. It's basically a third quarter of negative growth. But going into next year, it's not good. Not good at all. And when Powell raises interest rates, the market is going to crash completely. It's gone up like 2,000 plus points, 2,400, something like that, just because of the belief that the Fed won't raise interest rates 75 basis points. But anyway, the Federal Bureau of Investigation sent Trump a thank you note. Thank you, very truly yours, Chief of Counterintelligence and Export Control Section. They knew exactly what he had. They knew exactly what he had at Mar-a-Lago. They always knew what he had at Mar-a-Lago. They have a record of what they gave the president. They have a record of what they don't have from the president. I mean, to think that they didn't know what Trump had, and that an informant informed the Federal Bureau of Investigation, and there was a search warrant that a judge approved. The judge is always going to approve any warrant against Trump, because you'll have government agents saying, this is national security. Here, we have this informant and this information. And oh, look, here's a New York Times article. And they did that with the Steele dossier. So to get a search warrant is very easy. They got FISA warrants based on fabricated information from Kevin Kleinsmith, who pled guilty during the Durham probe. So, again, like, there's all the smoke and mirrors. This is all smoke and mirrors, ladies and gentlemen. Like, the reality that Democrats see is an illusion. Tens of thousands of articles the past 6 years said that Trump and the Kremlin had something going on. That was all fueled by fake, phony, deceitful lies coming out of the Clinton campaign, the DNC, and loyalists within the Federal Bureau of Investigation and other agencies. That's why when their text messengers are exposed, it's like, oh, we'll stop Trump. But anyway, the Federal Bureau of Investigation, and I talked about this, and he'll probably go ahead and release this either before or after he officially announces, but after midterms, when you'll have Marjorie Taylor Greene, Matt Gaetz, Jim Jordan, James Comer. You'll have all of these Trump Republicans in positions of power within these committees. House Oversight, Judiciary Committee. They're going to investigate Joe and Hunter. And they're going to find out that, oh, they went after Trump utilizing the United States government because they didn't. Okay, this whole thing with classified data, Clinton had classified data outside the U.S. government on servers. You can watch the short on this channel. Okay, you can watch the short on this channel. The short on this channel is 26,000. One of the shorts, the first one, is 26,000 views. It's James Comey stating, no reasonable prosecutor would indict even though Clinton broke laws. That's his words. Those are his words, not my words. Although there are potential violations of the statutes pertaining to the handling of classified data, no reasonable prosecutor would indict. I think that's almost verbatim. But if you look at also, there are articles, PolitiFact. The president, after all, is the commander-in-chief of the Army and Navy of the United States. According to Article 2 of the Constitution, the court's majority wrote, this is the Supreme Court. His authority to declassify and control access to information bearing on national security flows primarily from this constitutional investment of power in the president. Good luck trying to prove he didn't. It's the people who have to prove he didn't declassify are the prosecutors. And there's no way to prove he didn't declassify every document that he had, every piece of information that he had. There's no way to prove that. You can't go ahead and tell a jury, even a D.C. jury, that, well, we know Trump didn't declassify because this person said so. It's always going to be gossip and hearsay. Trump has the legal authority to declassify intelligence, ABC News. As president, Trump has the legal power to declassify information. He also has the authority to share information. By the way, this is within the description section. These articles, in addition to the articles I've written, are within the description section of every segment I have, and also the pinned comment. Team Trump takes an interest in the Clinton sock drawer case, MSNBC. Bill Clinton had classified data next to his underwear, and I'm not even joking about that. You can read the MSNBC article, and they say it's okay because it was his personal classified data, which is hilarious. But here, President Trump revealed highly classified information. Okay, the Washington Post, and You don't even have to have a screenshot of this. Because if it's behind a paywall, according to current and former U.S. officials, they don't have any evidence that Trump revealed anything. It was always according to current and former U.S. officials. Okay? And I have the PolitiFact article and I have the ABC News article that show that he had every right. And the Politico article, why Trump's declassification claim might not be outlandish. A former president claims he verbally declassified. He can verbally declassify anything, according to the Politico article. But he received a thank you note from the Federal Bureau of Investigation. So, and he'd already given boxes, and this was not an example where he was removing documents as a Secretary of State. Okay? This is an issue between the National Archives and a former president. There has never been a precedent to go after a president. So good luck trying to indict him on this. And they might actually try to indict him. And it might go to the Supreme Court. And the Supreme Court might just throw it out, which would be a monumental victory for Trump. Give me your thoughts below. Hit subscribe to this channel right now.